So now for our next session in the Yes Youth Can conference, it will be Greg talking about, some of the work that he does in a more interactive style workshop, the 8 dimensions of wellness for youth. So, Greg, I would, just like to say thank you for doing this, for giving your little presentation, and take it away.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nat. Um, I'm going to share a little screen here. Oftentimes when we think about wellness or, if we have, a mental health challenge or even a, physical challenge, we really just, we think about often physical wellness or, or mental wellness, but really our overall wellness is really, accounts for is made up of a lot of different elements. And so I think it's really important in our recovery that we don't just think, of our physical wellness or our mental wellness, and we really look at the bigger whole picture. So this is something I did a number of years ago with, there's a woman, Peggy Schwarbrook, which she is the kind of innovator of the 8 dimensions of wellness, which then SAMHSA picked up and, has championed for a number of years. So today we're going to go over some of that. And we may see if we can get our audience here to chime in and can make this an interactive little discussion on some things. But I'll first just kind of show you and can y'all see the screen okay?
Yes. Sorry, it took me a second to unmute, but we can see it. I don't know if you want to be in like present mode, because right now we can see all of, there you go. We could see all of like the, editing buttons. So just in case you didn't want those with you.
Sounds good. So these are all the, the 8 dimensions of wellness, like I was talking about. So we have emotional wellness, financial wellness, social wellness, spiritual, occupational, physical, intellectual, and environmental. And so, all of these things make up our overall wellness, but a lot of these things we don't really normally think about as, as crucial to our wellness or even think of them as wellness at all. So a number of years years ago worked with Dr. Peggy Schwarbrook, also with some of the Youth Move National crew, Johanna, and some others. And for one of the Georgetown Institutes, we came up with, I created this whole booklet, which this is excerpts from, and we did a wellness fair, which is, something that really can be replicated, anywhere, and is actually a really cool way in a post-COVID world where you can bring people together and you can, have opportunities where people can learn about their different dimensions of wellness, as well as, get tips and resources and skills related to things. So I'm going to walk through some of that now, and hopefully, you guys can join me in chiming in on this. So the first one we think about is physical wellness. When pretty much ask anybody what wellness is, for the most part, they think about, physical wellness. And that's obviously a big part of our well-being in a lot of different areas. But it's basically, recognizing the need for physical activity, healthy food, and restful sleep. So, exercise, you talk to pretty much any, doctor, we know that exercise is something that's very critical for our bodies. And for our, our physical health, but it also has a tremendous benefit for our mental health as well. For years when I've experienced my own mental health challenges, which have been manic episodes, which are those very extreme highs, which are very detrimental. Then I would fall and be in those extreme lows of depression, and so people for years and years had told me, if you exercise, that'll really help with depression. And I knew that would, through doing it for brief periods of time, that could really help. But a lot of times when you're in those depressive states, it's extremely hard to just get yourself, to be able to do it over that hump, to take yourself to the gym or to take yourself for a walk or to really kind of do anything. But those kind of physical activities can have a tremendous benefit for our mental health. And so, these are just some tips and things here. Take the stairs instead of elevator, have a schedule where you exercise each week, spend 20 minutes doing a physical activity a day, dance like no one is watching. Nat, I bet you do that. Is that
Yes, I
right?
do that. I do that a lot. So that is very, very accurate for me.
Stretch as often as you can. Go for a walk or hike. Uh, Play a sport with friends. Um, and every time I review these things, it's really good because it can kind of remind me of like what I'm not doing or what I am doing, but really, opportunities to increase my wellness in these various areas. Uh, Another thing is just the eating healthy and the healthiness piece. And that's something that I struggle with, and it's have seen just on a similar to my own wellness um, for years, and taking medication for mental health issues, you know, would tell me, make sure you drink a lot of water, make sure you drink a lot of water. And I, would hear that, but I wouldn't act on that, and was drinking tons of Dr. Pepper and Gatorade and sugary drinks and not enough water. Well, when I finally started, just kind of forcing myself to drink water, I actually felt a lot better. Um, so there's some other things, and I'm going to kind of, since we do have kind of a shorter period of time, so we can cover all these, I'm going to kind of breeze through. But with and this whole workbook is also in Wova. It's uploaded to this presentation, so you can download it and use it yourself. But these are just some questions that we can ask ourselves to kind of gauge our physical wellness. And kind of a checklist. I exercise 20 to 30 minutes at least 3 times per week, and I'm failing on that. not that it's a fail, but it's just an idea to point out. But I've gone through periods where I worked out real consistently, and I hadn't really done anything since COVID until like maybe about a month and a half ago. I kind of got back in it and did good for a couple of weeks, and then fell out of that. Um, get a routine checkups with doctor and dentist. Um, that's something that's I was just thinking yesterday. I haven't been to the dentist in a while. I need to get a checkup. Maintain a reasonable weight for my height and age, and I think that's important. It says reasonable. It's not obsessing or feeling like you have to be a certain weight, but it's is your reasonable weight, because that's going to make you feel healthier, make you feel better. Avoid using drugs and alcohol. And so if you do download this book, there's some there's on all of these pages for the different things. There are opportunities to write in strengths, things you're currently doing, or maybe goals or commitments, things that you like to do in the future. um, so this is something we don't think of a lot as a wellness thing, but it's a social wellness. So developing a sense of belonging, or well-developed support system made up of friends, family, community. And this is so important, especially for your young people. And that's really what a great role that like Youth Move plays in my life. The program that I do plays is giving young people an opportunity to feel a part of something and have those social connections, because so many young people feel isolated and either don't have any friends or don't have positive friends. And so that social wellness is so important, so that you're able to feel a part of something. And when you look at like a lot of the suicide prevention work, it really identifies the importance of being involved in like peer groups, and having those community activities and different things like that, stuff like we're doing here. So and I'll just kind of read over some of these. Get involved, as far as like clubs and activities, and just anything you can kind of get involved with. Things like Youth Move, or maybe it's a club at school, or it's a sports, or something that you're passionate about. Social media, counts for engaging. We hear a lot of negative stuff about social media, which there's definitely negatives, but that it also can be a lot of positives, because it can really connect us with other people, or connect us with friends we haven't been connected with in a while. So it's kind of everything in moderation with that. Give compliments is a great way to engage and connect with people. That's one of the things I try to do a lot of, but particularly in a kind of setting where people maybe come into like a youth group or something, and they're feeling uncomfortable, or just saying something like, oh, I like your shoes, or oh, I like your shirt, or things like that can really have a positive impact. Um, and making time for social interactions, as far as, making regular, whether it's dates or scheduling time to get together with friends or being part of different groups and things like that is very, very important. Um, Nat, can I call on you?
Yes, feel free to call on me whenever you want someone to talk because I'm always willing to talk.
All right. Well, what's your social wellness look like?
My social wellness. So for me, it's a little complicated because with my autoimmune disease, I obviously can't go out with the pandemic and all, just because I need to stay healthy and stay safe, and that like is definitely prioritized over social wellness. But for social wellness, what I really try to do is when I am feeling like I need some support, I usually go and I hang out with my mom and we usually watch different things like crime shows together. But I also have a lot of friends across the country and across the world who I can connect to and generally, talk to them about whatever's going on. And a lot of my friends here in Idaho, we actually plan out like virtual game nights that I can still attend, even though I can't be there in person. So we found ways to work around it. It is a little bit harder than when I could see people in person, but I feel like I've found a healthier alternative to it that keeps me safe for my health, but also, lets me see people. So it's somewhere that I want to keep improving, but I've made a lot of progress over the last year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's some really good things you talked about. And obviously, the whole pandemic thing makes things a lot more challenging. But that's really
Mhm.
cool that you're getting together with friends from all over online and making those connections. You also talked about getting together and doing things with your mom, and that's awesome. And I
Mhm.
think young people really need supportive adults in their lives. And it's kind of one of the questions from the survey. I feel supported by adults who I can rely on. And so sometimes that's maybe our parents, but maybe not. So unfortunately, a lot of young people might not have parents or have those kind of relationships. But that's why, as other adults, whether it's people we work with or whatnot, um, can really have an opportunity to support young people as mentors or as uh, supports in various aspects of things. So all right, I'm going to go into the next one, which is spiritual wellness, expanding sense of purpose, peace, and meaning in life. Wherever we are on our path towards spiritual wellness, there's some things that we can do to discover meaning and purpose and develop our own belief system. And so, a lot of times when people think about spirituality, they just think about, religion or church. And so for some people, that might be really the foundation or the cornerstone to their spirituality. And that's awesome. But also for some people, maybe they don't like to go to church or they don't prescribe to a particular religion. But spirituality is really kind of a bigger, broader thing, as was kind of just described, and can help us discover meaning and purpose and develop really our own belief system and really our own sense of kind of what makes us happy, what gives us joy, what makes us feel a part of the world. And so some of the things here we talked about it. So meditation can have a huge impact on our wellness and spirituality. It's something that I had been introduced to years ago through the 12 steps, and I kind of had done it in periods of time and knew it was beneficial, but never could really commit to doing it on a regular basis. You know, probably a couple of months ago, after dealing with some of my own mental health challenges and a lot of anxiety, I finally got to a place where I was, have been meditating like every day. And that really is extremely beneficial. And it doesn't, I used to think it was some kind of, uh, fancy thing that you had to be, had to do some fancy pose, or there was some special, kind of method or what, but really it's just a matter of just kind of like sitting there and trying to quiet your mind. And, there's varying different things. There's lots of great apps online even that you can utilize that can help with meditation and kind of build a practice with that. Um, Read or listen to inspiring messages online. There's just, tons and tons of content out there, from motivational speakers to different positive messages to positive music, uh, practice being in the moment, which I have trouble with. I think a lot of us maybe do, but we can kind of call it like future tripping or past tripping. So we, can often dwell so much on the past or worry about stuff in the future and have a tough time being right there in the moment. And then a lot around spirituality is exploring, different things. So like, exploring different religions or practices or spiritual traditions and seeing if there's something that that kind of resonates with you or that you like to do. Pray, and here's this quote, like it is said that prayer is the practice of speaking and meditation is the practice of listening. So not everyone is believes in prayer. For me, it's something that's find very beneficial, to just kind of speaking and talking to the universe. And for me, a lot of that is just kind of prayers of gratitude and thanking the spirit, God, or universe for all the blessings that I have in my life. So that so there's also a little quiz here for the spiritual wellness, and we're gonna call on Nat again and see, Nat, what's your spiritual wellness look like? Does any of these things resonate with things that you
Yeah.
do?
So I never grew up like prescribed to a single religion, and that was just because like it was never something that really fit in with my family. But as I got older, we like as a family, we would go to different places of worship just to see if my brother or I really felt strongly connected to one. We used to go to mosques, to Muslim mosques, with some of our friends who were Muslim, as kind of an act of solidarity in 2016, and we became exposed to that. And we became exposed to a lot of their spiritual practices. I have been Some of my friends who are Catholic have plans to take me to like midnight mass when this is all over, which I'm totally down for because I've never been to one. But the few spiritual things that really resonate with me, I also meditate, and that has been something that I got really into over quarantine. And something that the one of the few like spiritual things that my family really has a lot of faith in is like an afterlife of some kind. And also my grandma and many like one of the very few things that I'm super connected to spiritually is like tarot readings and tarot cards, because that is something that I kind of grew up around from my grandma, and that was, even if it's not necessarily predicting the future, kind of looking for those answers within yourself, using them as a way to reflect on what you're doing and where you've been going and where you want to go. That's the way that I use tarot cards. And so those are really the spiritual practices that I do. I would say meditation is the thing that has become most prevalent in my life, just because I can take like 3 minutes a day just to myself where I don't have to do anything, and it's very nice. So spiritually, I'm always kind of looking for new things to try and new experiences to go and face just out of curiosity. But yeah, I really like the spiritual side of things.
That's awesome. That's so cool that y'all are exploring different things and would go to mosque and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
so I'm gonna get moved. We have about 9 minutes. I'm gonna get moving a little faster with things. But so occupational wellness, participation in meaningful work, school, or volunteer activities. So much of our kind of identity in our world comes from what we do. So I mean that kind of was one of the questions if you meet somebody new that they're often, so what do you do? So but it is also something that makes us feel good and accomplished, about of ourselves when we do something that's kind of meaningful to us. So, work obviously, feels good to make money, but it also can feel good to do something that you're, passionate about and that's going to bring you joy. And a lot of times, in life, as you get older, you're kind of balancing those things out of, maybe pursuing something where you can make more money or something where you might make less money, but you're having a big, can have a bigger impact on helping people or that sort of thing. When we're younger, you may not be at a place where you're wanting to work or able to work or whatnot, or even if you're older, but volunteering can be a huge thing that can be really beneficial. A number of times when I was on disability and kind of coming out of mental health episodes, had opportunities to do some volunteer work, and that can be a kind of a way in a safer, less pressure sort of way where we can, feel good about ourselves and get involved in helping others. And to me, um, the biggest way I've been able to, to heal on this healing journey is through helping others. So like the kind of concept of we get better by helping others, people get better. And so volunteering can be a huge part of that. Taking a class on something we're interested in, being part of a different group and doing those things at learning, and hobbies is, kind of going and pursuing things that you really like to do. And hobbies can bring us great joy, and sometimes it might even turn into a career. There's another little quiz here, and again, this is all in the WOVA thing. So financial wellness is feeling secure with your current or future monetary needs. So some of the things that we can do with that, obviously, money and financial situations can be extremely stressful for people. And by focusing on our kind of wellness and doing things around that, it can be a lot less stressful and a lot less detrimental to our lives. And it also can help us, achieve things in other arenas of our wellness. But so plan a daily, weekly, monthly budget based on how much money you receive and how much you spend. Track your spending and consider wants versus needs. You need to think of that more often. You often think we really, need something, and like, oh, probably don't really need that, but I do want it. Learn about financial matters from professionals, family, friends, having a mentor around that. Looking for school loans or scholarship opportunities. Definitely encourage young people, because I fell into the trap early on. Be cautious of credit cards and accumulating debt. A lot of credit card companies are very willing to give a young person a credit card, and then as soon as you hit that limit or you miss a payment, it just starts racking up, and then next thing you know, you got all kind of debt. There's some more quizzes there. So emotional wellness is another big piece of our wellness. Being aware of feelings and having the ability to cope with stress and disappointment. That is something I still work on. And some of the things we've talked about before with like the spiritual wellness and the meditation and things like that can really help with some of this. But some of the things that you can do with that is breathing techniques and positive thoughts to turn a negative situation around. I used to have a lot of, and still do actually, but it's a lot better, have a lot of like negative self-talk, where you can kind of like beat yourself up in your head, because we can often be our own worst critics. And so kind of having to change those thought patterns. And I would often, have to kind of, yell at myself almost in my head, like, hey, stop, worrying about what you don't have and be grateful for what you do have, or, stop talking negative, to yourself. Right. And that's something I'm reminding I was supposed to do for my counseling therapy session. He gave me an assignment to write, which I just remembering now, I didn't write it, but journal, poems, blogs. Last night, both Kat and I read some poems. Noah wrote some songs that could be really beneficial. Spend time with positive people that you like being around and talking to. Seek out support from mental health professionals when needed. Spend time listening to inspiring music. This social wellness can come a big part into that, or also getting involved in groups, like Youth Move, where you're around other positive people. That's some more, little quizzes around the emotional wellness, but I, encourage to, take a look at them, because for me, at least, it gives you like some kind of prodding to like, oh, I could be doing this, or I'm not doing this, or I am doing this, so that's good. Intellectual wellness, which is, our mind, and stimulating our mind and our creative abilities, and finding ways to expand our knowledge and our skills. So, reading book, newspaper, blogs, magazines, whatever, using the web, if you're interested in something, searching online and staying up, learning more about it, staying up with current events, playing games, to stimulate your mind, create something, creativity. I know Nat's big into the creativity piece, and I love doing creative stuff, but don't do it enough. But that really gets your brain going and stimulates. Going to libraries and museums and exploring and learning about stuff, listening to music. Obviously there's the aspects of going to college or school or things like that where we can enhance our intellectual wellness. And there's some more little quizzes on there. And then environmental wellness, which is feeling safe and comfortable where we live, work, and play, and spending time in places that support happiness and a sense of well-being. So that's so important and something we oftentimes don't think about, and oftentimes, particularly young people, even older people, were kind of forced into sort of situations which maybe aren't the greatest for our environmental wellness. But it's important to kind of create our own spaces or go into spaces where we can have that sense of wellness in a space. Like, and that's a good example of her room where she has all these collages and images and things like that that create that own space for her, which I'm assuming, pretty sure, brings her kind of comfort and makes her feel better. But create your own space. Change your environment if you're not feeling kind of comfortable where you are. And sometimes we can't necessarily change our living situation very easily. But if you're at a place where you're not feeling comfortable, take a walk. Go somewhere. That sort of thing. Nature can be a huge benefit for our environmental wellness. Going for a walk, just spending out time in the beauty in nature, that can be huge. And be environmentally friendly, like contribute to the overall environment and stuff, can make us feel good as well. There's a little quote here: we make the world we live in and shape our environment. So and that's some little quizzes on that. And so that, I believe, is the end of my time, but there are some resources here that you can check out. Again, all this stuff I had uploaded to the WOVA, so you can download this whole little booklet, but there's some different resources here for some different organizations that you can contact and get information related to some of the things that I was just discussing. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and thank everybody for taking the time to listen and go on a little wellness journey with me and Nat. So, and with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Nat.
Yay! Thank you so much. I was really looking forward to your talk because I actually, when I was loading everything into Whova, I was looking at your little wellness passport, and I was like, this is really cool. And I'm thinking about actually using it in a few of our youth move meetings to kind of just have people do little self reflections outside of the time that we meet each week. I think that would be really, really great. And thank you, Greg, not just for your lovely presentation, but for everything that you've helped to do for this conference. So thank you so much.